everything has a precise accounting of who, what, when, how, and it's no, like, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes in Shemayim. Now, with all of these servants, there is one time that the Zohar says the Malach HaMavet, he himself takes care of it. When it has to do with tzaddikim, when it has to do with people that do above and beyond, people that are ultra righteous or people that are trying to make other people righteous. You're trying to do kiruv. Then the Malach HaMavet is sent to test those people with horrible, miserable tests that are very, very difficult. Why? Because you have to withstand the heat in order to become the diamond that you want to become. It doesn't come as a free lunch. So you'll see that a lot of the people that are Mizakei Rabim, a lot of the people that have successful kiruv or big rabbis in the world, big Talmidei Chachamim, suffer a lot. It says the Psukim. David HaMelech talks about it non-stop. He suffered his whole life, never slept more than 15 minutes. He talks about how the tzaddikim suffer. Why are tzaddikim suffering? Because they're constantly tested. Et Hashem yoav yochiach. Hashem rebukes, tests those he loves. That deen from Shemayim hasn't changed. If a person is going to do kiruv and he wants to know if it's working or not, he should look at their life. If his life is easy, means Yetzer Hara cares less about you. Why? Because you're doing kiruv with dogs and cats. Maybe the dogs and cats are eating more treat because of you. No one's doing tshuva. No one's doing tshuva. Maybe the cat learned a chidush from the shiur today. But people, human beings, they care less. Why? Your life is splendid. You're extending your house. You always have extra money in the bank. Everybody gives you kavod. Everywhere you go to the supermarket, people give you high five just because they start kissing their own hand. They don't want to wash it because you're such a tzaddik. You have no problems in your life. That's a problem. Not having problems is a problem. Why? Because the Yetzer Hara gives problems to people that are being tested. Now, we don't welcome problems, we don't want problems, but unfortunately this is one of the signatures that your system is working, that the direction that you're going is the right direction. Now, these problems come in all forms and sizes. Sometimes it's a simple thing like a flat tire or less money in the bank than you would ideally like to have. Sometimes it's arguments between you and your spouse. Sometimes it's issues with your kids. Sometimes it's a disease. Sometimes it's all types of horrible things that no one wants to have, even on our enemies. But unfortunately, these are necessary things to give us, that Hashem has given us an indication. An indication that the Yetzer Hara does not want us around. Why? We're stealing away employees from him. Every time you get somebody to do tshuva, you're stealing millions and millions of employees from the Yetzer Hara. Because that person, before he did tshuva, every time he made a sin, he created at least one demon that works for the Yetzer Hara. To get to such a point that the Yetzer Hara doesn't have to deal with him anymore. He says, wow, that person has created so many demons, those demons are already doing my job. They're already making him make more sins to create more. He's a factory of demons. He's a factory of Yetzer Hara. So now when you make him do tshuva, now he stops being a factory. The residual payment to the Yetzer Hara starts going lower and lower. All of a sudden he starts taking back. Yetzer Hara gets out of his chair. He's like, wait, who's doing all this? Oh, this Rabbi? I have to go mess with him. I got to go do something. And he gets permission from Hashem to do it. This, Rabotai, is a non-stop test. Now I can tell you something that you're going to probably see on the news, Bezrat Hashem, in the next couple of days, not because I'm a Navi, or the son of a Navi, but I pray that it will be on the news. Someone sent me, a few people sent me the news. I don't watch news, so few people sent me the news in the last 24 hours. A couple of people sent me news that happened in Florida. There was one guy broke into two houses. Broke into two houses, and I don't know if it was during that break-in or during a different break-in, but Hashem Yachem, he broke into a house in a gated community where everybody feels safe, and he raped a woman. Hashem Yachem. Later on, there was a standoff this afternoon in the same area, and hopefully they caught him. I'm not sure, but I'm adding 1 + 1. That was also on the news. There was a standoff, maybe 8, 9 police cars, everybody with shotguns and all types of fancy weapons surrounding a house. That was also on the news. Also on the news, there was an Arab terrorist that took pictures of himself with a machete the size of a samurai sword outside of a Chabad in Los Angeles. He was proud of the things he wanted to do. These are some of the things that just happened in the last 24 hours that were on the news. I'll tell you something that wasn't on the news. But Be'ezrat Hashem will be on the news. On Thursday night, somewhere around 11 o'clock Eastern time, a man left a restaurant, Jewish restaurant, a man that's Shomer Torah and Mitzvot, but not only Shomer Torah and Mitzvot, but he also does a lot of good things, a lot of big chesed. Anytime there's an opportunity to do chesed, you don't have to ask. He just does. And this man, he came to California for business, and he happens to be in a jewelry business. In the jewelry business, usually if you're in a jewelry business, you have to have jewelry. So you walk around with a lot of jewelry, and if you're traveling on business to one of these shows, you have to have a lot of jewelry on you. Why? Because you're trying to sell, you're trying to buy. Either you're buying a lot, or selling a lot, or both. So many of them are old-timers. Many of these jewelers, anyone that knows Jewish jewelers, they're old-timers. They pretty much carry their net worth with them. They don't leave some home in a safe. They don't have an IRA account. They just take their net worth with them wherever they go. Very old-fashioned way of doing things. This is how everybody used to do until this generation. So he literally had his net worth with him. And he also had almost $100,000 worth of jewelry of other people that gave him to sell. So this person went, did some business, had his big kippah on, so he's identifiably Jewish. You wouldn't mess it. And he doesn't hide it. In fact, he speaks Hebrew at every opportunity he gets, because he's Israeli. And when he left the restaurant, all of a sudden, a gang of thugs attacked him, beat him up, took everything he had, and then hit him with the car. It wasn't enough to just take his net worth and make a person that worked for 70 years, or he's 70 years old, 56 years, and take everything from him. But they wanted to make sure they leave their mark also. So they made sure that he goes straight to the hospital, because there's no other place to go. They took everything he had, worked 56 years for. Of course, he had ups and downs, but nonetheless, this is all he had. And two people, two cars, it was a bunch of people that apparently followed him from business, from something, somewhere that they saw. It was definitely a planned attack. Now, you haven't seen this on the news. And the reason why is because he had to go to the hospital. And after going to the hospital, by the time everything was done, it was already getting ready for Shabbat. And Shabbat is more important than losing your life savings. Shabbat is more important than losing all the confidence you thought you had. So you had to go through Shabbat, not even knowing what to do, how to do it. But he went through it. And he kept Shabbat. Was your Shabbat easier than his? It was probably, right? But he still kept Shabbat. So all those people that say, it's hard for me to keep Shabbat because I have such and such. It's not as hard as this guy's. They didn't lose everything they had. They didn't get beat up by a couple of thugs or half a dozen thugs that filled up 2 cars. No, right? He still kept Shabbat. And even after Shabbat was over, he's still not sure whether he wanted to publicize it or not, because maybe it's bad for people to see the Jews down. Maybe this, maybe that. He's thinking about, what should I do? What should I do? I told him that you should publicize it everywhere. Obviously tell the cops. Most importantly, bring all the pictures that we have from the video cameras of the thugs that did all of it. And all of the people that are counting their money right now as if it's theirs, the money they stole, the jewelry they stole, they're counting it, they're happy. But they don't realize what they just did. They don't realize that this person was one of the people that actually helped thousands of people do tshuva. Thousands of people do tshuva. No exaggeration. Thousands of people did tshuva with his money. Because every single month, he made shigiv to give maaser or more every month. To make sure that we can pay rent. To make sure that you can actually come to the shiur and not have to pay for it. Every month. Clockwork. Have it, didn't have it, he did it. But like I told you, Rabotai Yekarim, Et Hashem Yoav Yochiach. Hashem tests those people that he loves. And this person that did so many different good things and helped so many people do tshuva, now these people that stole all this money, they think they did good. They think they're now going to buy their girlfriend some vacation, some car, some stuff. But they don't realize that we have a parasha in the Torah that says that a person that stops Torah from being publicized, a person that gets even in the way of Torah, not just stops Torah, but he gets in the way of Torah. Meaning that one person is not going to be able to have a CD because there's no more money for it anymore. Or one person can't learn a daf because he can't afford the book. Or one person can't pay rent and then do kiruv because there's no donations anymore. One person, there's less Torah in the world. Needless to say, an entire organization being affected. He thinks he's okay, this person that stole the money. But he doesn't realize that the Torah says arur. What's arur? Arur is the worst curse in the entire Torah. Means all of the diseases, all of the problems, all of the worst possible things that you can imagine are going straight to those people that took the money. All of the things that I suffered in my life, Ishtabach Shimo La'ad, is going to be like a blessing for them. The diseases that Hashem brought to Mitzrayim and the ones he didn't will go on those people. Not a second, not a cent of that money will be enjoyed beyond a second. Why? Because now Jewish people have to suffer. Mainly the person that now is questioning, how do I start life again at 70 years old? What do I do? Who's going to help me other than Hashem? And you know how I know all this? He's my father. This all happened to my father just a couple of days ago. The same person that helped all of you do tshuva. The same person that helped us do everything. Now is questioning, what do I do? But I always told you that every single thing that you're going to have in your life has to be in the weekly parasha. So in the middle of the night on Thursday, when I get a phone call from my mom, which I usually don't get such phone calls at such times, from my mom, and I hear her hysterical crying, there was only one question that I had. She was crying hysterical. My brother in the background was crying hysterical. And every one of us had only one question. That question was the same question that Yosef HaTzadik asked. After he didn't see his father for 22 years and suffered unending pain because of it. He didn't see his brothers. He didn't see his nieces and nephews. He didn't ask him, so what do you do for a living? He didn't ask him, what's your net worth? He didn't ask him, are you married with kids or no kids? Are you still dating? He didn't ask him, did you finish this book? Did you see that book? What did he ask them? He said, Ani Yosef, Aod Avi Chai. Is my father still alive? That's all that matters. Money's gone, pain, anguish, broken arm, knees, all types of horrible things happen. Is he still alive? Because if he is, that means Hashem wants him to be alive. That means Hashem loves him. And he's going to show him better times. It may not be today, may not even be tomorrow or next week. Especially when all of these Reshaim Arurim get caught. That may not even be a good day because the confidence that he had is forever gone. The trauma that he endured is forever. It won't go away. Even if all of them come on spears hanging from the ceiling like they deserve, nothing will change other than a bank account. What they did damaged the person permanently. So why did Hashem keep him alive? Because there's much good other than this that he will see Be'ezrat Hashem. From his kids, from his grandkids, from his wife, and from life in general. Rabotai Yekarim, et Hashem Yoav, Hashem Yochiach. Hashem has to rebuke, has to give judgment, has to test us and put us to the fire. Because that is what distinguishes us from the Goyim. The Goyim that get tests, they become atheists. The Jew that gets tests says, that's Abba. That's Abba. Yeah, but you just lost everything that you worked for your whole life. Yeah, it's Abba. That's Abba. Yeah, but you have a lot of damage and you're hurt and you're in pain and you can't sleep at night and you're thinking 500 million things of what you should have done and this and that. Yeah, that's that same place. All of that pain is coming from. Yes, that's Abba. That's Abba. That's Hashem. If you don't believe it's Hashem, you're still a goy. This, Rabotai, is a living test we have to deal with. Reality is, all of you have your own tests. Everybody has their own tests. I'm sure your tests are as difficult for you. But a person has to double check themselves every day. Every single day. Am I doing as good as I could be doing? Am I being tested? Am I passing my tests? What am I doing when I'm getting tested? Am I thinking about the right things? Am I thinking about the wrong things? And so on and so forth. Why? Because if your life is smooth, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with a smooth life.